Hi, everybody. I'm Patrick Lloyd, and I'm going to talk in this video about how to register and how to get started on ALEKS. If you recall from the video discussing the syllabus, ALEKS is the online learning system that we use in this course, and all of your assignments for the course will be done through ALEKS. Okay, so let me bring up the course syllabus first of all. There we go. Now, in the course syllabus, what you'll see for ALEKS is that there's the website, aleks.com, and here is what's called the class code. So the class code is what you really want to get started. So I'm just going to copy that 10-digit code. So let me make sure I copied it. Okay. Then I'm going to come over here to ALEKS, and what you'll see up here is sign up new students. You can click on that one. This, of course, is if you've never used ALEKS before. If you have, you can just add the course to your account. I'm going to paste that. It's actually a 10-digit code in there. Continue. And then the next step is to see that we have the right course. This is Chemistry 12, Fall 2025. Professor Patrick Lloyd's there. Clearly, it's the fall, and that's Kingsborough, so that's good. It's like the right one. It should be section 04. Okay. Hit confirm. And let's say you haven't used it before. Let's just say no. And then you're going to do your registration. So I'll make up a name here. And then I'll make up an address. Okay, looks like we got all that. And then just put in your student ID. This would be your MPLID number at CUNY. Okay. And then make up a password that you can write down somewhere. There we go. Agree, create your account. And that should create the account, and you're ready to move on to essentially the payment page. Now here it says the login. So the login is typically your first initial, then your last name, and then a 4-digit number. So P Lewis 3069. Okay. So do you need to purchase a code? Okay, so you have a couple of options here. One is you've never used it before and you're ready to get started on this. So you would say, no, I need to purchase an access code. And that'll take you to a payment page where you can enter in credit card or gift card numbers, or a debit card number. The other option is, yes, I do have an account. I already have a code. So maybe you took Chemistry 11 at Kingsborough back in the spring or maybe back in the summer. So you still have, some time left. So in that case, you'd say, no, yes, I do have an access code. Okay. Now the other option is that you need a little bit of time to get the money together to pay for it. It is roughly $110 to $115 with the ebook. Without the ebook, it's a little less expensive. You can get the 18-week, I think, for $94. So that's a little bit less expensive. So depending on what your option, anywhere from like 94 up to about 115. So the other option is you come back to the syllabus, and if you scroll down to the next page, there's something called a financial aid access code, and that's a 20-digit code. You can copy that one. This will give you 2 weeks access if you need a little bit of time to get the money together. So you just paste that, copy, paste, hit continue. Okay. You have 2 weeks of temporary access that will expire on 9/24/25. To continue using ALEKS after that date, you have to purchase an access code. Okay. So it just gets you 2 weeks started, but gets you through the course. All right. Welcome to your ALEKS class management experience. Okay. So here you see it over here, Chemistry 12, Fall 2025-04. So, it will, if you're using the financial aid access code, it will keep bothering you once in a while to purchase the code, but it will allow you to use the software for up to 2 weeks. Okay. It's then going to talk you through several things, some tutorials. It gives you a little bit of an intro to what it is. It's a personalized way. So keep in mind the problems you're doing may be different from your classmates because it's going to personalize what you're doing based on what your experience is in the software. Okay, so it's going to take you on your path. Here's your 2 week warning. Okay, so the next thing is it runs you through a tutorial. Here's your main menu, those lines up at the top. Hit next. Notifications show up over here. And over here on the left side, you'll see this like greenish area with a little disc here, this little oval. That's usually what you do. You click on that thing over there. Okay. All right, let's get started on the tools. Okay. So on the tools, it's going to have you learn how to essentially use the software. So it's telling you enter in 14, correct. Now click on the clear button to clear the answer. This is your clear button right there. Now do the undo button to put it back. Great, you now know how to use that particular tool. Hit next, okay? Now it's going to tell you how to enter in fractions. So whenever you have to do a fraction, it's going to give you like a little fraction function. So click on that. And then in the numerator, it wants you to put in a 2. In the denominator, a 3. That looks good. Okay. There's a little progress bar up. This is telling you how far along you are on that particular assignment. So here it wants you to balance this equation, put a 3, click on the little blue ball at the bottom. Did I get that right? Ooh, hit subscript. There we go. Now type 2. Good. Click on the blue circle. Hit the delete button. Backspace is what I'm using. Now type in, it says the value entered is not correct. Please hit clear. Okay, let's come back over here. 3. Click on the circle there. Subscript. Enter 2. There we go. Click on the blue circle. Hit delete. See, I keep making mistakes on this one. So let's try again. Click on this one. Hit subscript 2. Hit backspace. Type in MN. Click on the blue circle. Hit backspace. Type in a 4. And there you go. Okay, so that's one. Teaching you how to do subscripts and such. Okay, introducing how to draw structures. So some of the stuff involves structures that you have to be able to draw. And then the next thing here is how to use the calculator. So ALEKS does have a calculator. You can use your physical calculator if you want to. Okay. The button for the calculator is right here. Okay. And then there's one. So type in 1, hit the division button, type in A, and then we look up for carbon, C. Okay, click on the little X. There we go. Click on the blue circle, hit times, go to the constants, Avogadro's number, hit the X to get rid of Avogadro's number toolbox, and then hit equal. Okay, so that's a way for you to do calculations that involve constants. Hit the scientific notation function, so that just converts it to scientific notation. And there you go. So there's your little tutorials for the tools. The next thing you do is what's called a knowledge check. So the initial knowledge check is going to ask you some questions about chemistry. Again, you may not know too many of these. You may not know any of them. And that's okay. It says, do have a pencil and paper available. Don't get help from others. And then try your best. Okay. So usually I would say take around 30 minutes to do this or so, not too much longer than that. So let's start our knowledge check. Okay. So in this one, it says tag each carbon atom in the main chain of the 3-methyl pentane molecule drawn below. So tag each one. So we're going to highlight and we're going to do each carbon. So this is just showing whether you can identify a carbon atom from the structure. Okay. I think most people can probably do that. Highlight each atom that's from a hydroxy group. Again, that's a hydroxy group. You may not know that one, though. That's something that we cover later in the course. Okay. So this one, I'm just saying, you know what? I don't know anything about equilibrium constants, so I'm just going to say I don't know. It's going to give you a little warning. Hit it, just click it again. Say I don't really know. Okay. Next one, here's a calculation of pH. You may not know that one either. If you really don't know how to do these calculations, that's fine. Don't try to look them up during the initial knowledge check. If you don't know about half-lives, that's fine. So for most of these, I would suspect you're not going to know these. Most students are not going to know these. Okay. And then based on that, that only took a couple minutes. It can kind of tell what you know and what you don't know. So I'm going to hit continue. Okay. And here's a little tutorial about your pi. So each material, each sort of topic that we cover will show up in one of these little slices of the pie. So if you look at B, kinetics and equilibrium, that's 2 chapters, 14 and 15. That's a big part of the course. So that's chapter 14 and 15. C, for example, is acids and bases. That's going to be chapter 16 and 17. D is chapter 18. Notice how it's a little smaller because it's only one chapter. Electrochemistry is about the same as 18. That's chapter 19. And then F is chapter 20. Okay, so each of the topics is a little bit of a pie. And as you finish the problems, you'll fill out that particular slice. Okay. All right, so a couple, let's see, anything else is they want you to actually, we're still sort of going through one of these little, um, tutorials. So this is telling you how to use the pie. If I click on that little red slice right there, it's like, oh, you got one done because I figured out how to do one of them. There's one I still have to do, but I got one of them. But if you look over here at kinetics, for example, I didn't do any of the kinetics because I don't know how to do those, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. So now it says you've unlocked your learning path. Go to your timeline to see it. So I'm going to do that right here. And then this is just going to sort of tell you like what you're doing, the work that you're doing through the semester. It's a good idea to look at that every once in a while. Okay. There's also a calendar. Again, everything's due December 17th, so that's perfectly fine. Okay. All right, now it says you're all set. See where it says start my path? After you've started, later on when you log in, it'll probably say something like continue my path, right? And then here is the assignment list. It's all down here. Look at all those assignments, right? Those are all the assignments there. And again, they're all due December 17th, right? Okay, so I'm going to come back over here. And oh, just a couple of things. Like, so for example, if you do get the ebook and you want to access the ebook, it's right there. You just click on that, on those lines, and then click on ebook. And let's see if it pops up here. It takes a little while to load. 943 pages. That's the ebook, right? So that's the sort of the inside of the textbook. There's your table of contents. And then you get into chapter 1. Now you probably want to go, beyond chapter 1. You're not really doing that thing. So what you could do is you could type in kinetics. Let's see. I type in kinetics. Oh, it's not letting me type that in. It's searching all right. I'm going to stop that because it's going pretty slow. Um, so let's do this. Here we go. If you come up, I just clicked over there. You can look for particular chapters. So I'm going to close chapter 1 and go all the way to 14. There we go. 14. Good. Here's chapter 14 introduction, right? Of course, you can resize this to take up the whole screen if you want. Is it still kind of trying to do it? Oops. Looks like I didn't switch it to chapter 14. Let's click on that one more time. There we go. Chapter 14, chemical kinetics. Okay. So there's your little intro. And then as you go page through page, you'll see the material. Okay. So here's the next page. It's loading slowly just because I have a very slow connection right now. Here's section 14.2. So one of the things that I'll just say a little bit about um, the ebook is that it does come with what are called sample problems. So here's a sample problem. So these are good. These sample problems are good for you to try. Gives you practice doing the problems. It'll help you with the ALEKS. Gives you some pointers on how to do the problem. And then after that, and then it shows you the solution, right? Then after that, they give you a practice problem A, another practice problem B, and then a practice problem C. So they give you some practice problems with that, and you can look at the answers if you need to. Okay. So there's the answer to A. All right, so that's the ebook if you want to use the ebook. So I'm going to come back over here and let's just go back to learn. Okay, there's your calendar. Oh, there's your grade book. I should point that out. You can always look at your grades. People ask me about the grades. It's always up there. So, each assignment that you do, you'll get a grade for, and as you complete them, you'll get grades. But it'll also give you your overall grade. It's right up here. 0 just because we haven't done anything. Okay. So there's that. The ebook, reports, calendar. Calendar is useful. Assignments. So let's just go back to learn. And then this essentially is where you're going to start the course. Okay. And so just to kind of get you kicked off here so you can see, this is little toolbar up here, not a toolbar, it's a progress bar. See how it's 5 points? If you do this problem and you get it completely right, you get 2 points. If you do, then it's going to have you do a similar problem. You do it a second time, you get it right, you get 2 points. And then you do it a third time, you get 1 more point and you're done with that problem. And, in a sense, you're done for the whole course with that problem. So you finish that homework problem, okay? If you get one right, you get 2 points, and then you get the next one wrong, it takes you back 1 point. It takes away a point every time you get one wrong. So you'll end up having to do more of them, okay? And there's an explanation thing here, so we'll go through this one. The rate of a certain reaction is given by the following rate law. So this is, again, kinetics and equilibrium. It's chapter 14, using a rate law. So you'll want to be using like YouTube videos, the ebook if you have it, my lecture notes, which are available on Brightspace. You can look through those lecture notes, watch my videos, and go through here. Okay, we'll talk about stuff like this. So for example, the rate of a certain reaction is given by the rate law. Okay. Rate equals K times H2 squared times NH3. Again, that material is covered in the chapter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? I watched a video and I read through the lecture notes. I think I kind of know how to do this. So I think maybe this is a 2 and this is a 1 and I think this is a 3. But I'm not sure about these. I just really don't know. You can go to the explanation. Okay, so if you click on the explanation, it'll give you a little warning that any numbers you put in there are going to be lost because you're using the explanation. But I'm going to proceed to the explanation. Okay, and then in the explanation page, they're going to show you the problem, And then they're going to give you like a little explanation of how to do the problem, how you get the answer and all of that. And then it's like, okay, oh, I kind of get it now. So now I can hit practice. And I will point out again, the calculator's over here, the periodic table's over here. The ebook is there. Oh, that's actually new that they put the ebook over here. Data tables, um, and encyclopedia, which just gives you definitions. And then if there are any videos that are associated with it, they'll put that there. So then you hit practice and you start over. Okay. Then you kind of put in all your information. Be aware of significant figures or significant digits. If it says um, three significant digits, so answer, so this is the fourth question here, three significant digits. Your answer might be like 3.25 or 14.1, three significant digits, okay? If it says to three decimal places, that's a different meaning. Decimal places, how many digits past the decimal point. So let's say that your answer came out to like 14.1056 from your calculator. 14.1 would be three significant figures. 14.106 would be three decimal places. The decimal places is after the decimal. Significant figures includes the digits before the decimal. Okay? Just make sure you pay attention to that. Usually I've got these problems set up that it tells you how many. Really, people are supposed to be able to figure out how many they would have. So, for example, if this has three digits here and it's all multiplication division, the answer should have three. And that's why it says three significant digits. Okay. And there you go. So there is, I think, a pretty good intro into ALEKS, keeping in mind that when you go to the assignments page, let me see if I can find that. I'm going to go back to the home. So there's home. See here, there's your assignments. So I don't want you to forget that you also are going to be doing virtual labs. So the virtual labs are due the 17th, but you should be doing those, one a week. And the virtual labs are nice because they're not going to kill you in terms of the complexity. They're relatively simple. So they're kind of a nice break from doing the hardcore calculations that you're doing in the homework problems. So don't forget about doing those as well. And of course, each chapter from 14 to 19 has an exam. So exam one, they're not necessarily in order here, I guess. There's exam one, exam six, exam four, exam five, exam two, and exam three. Somehow they ended up down there. I'm not sure why. But in any case, there are also practice exams. The practice exams are not graded, they're optional, they're just to give you practice, okay? And there you go. So I think that's a pretty decent intro into ALEKS, how to get started on it, how to get doing some of the problems. Again, make sure that you um, on the syllabus, I have videos. I'm also going to put some links into Brightspace for the videos so that each chapter has a set. So you can use my videos, you can use the ebook, you can use my lecture notes. Those are all in a folder on Brightspace, the lecture notes. And you should be able to get going on this. So good luck, okay?